I stopped to look over my shoulder to make sure no one was following me. Then I started making my way down the corridor again. It was getting rather dark now, so I switched on my torchlight. I shone the light on the door at the end. Room 217. I pushed the door and it creaked open. And that's when it caught my eye. A small china box with my name on it. Next to it was a note that said, "Claire, I knew you would be here. Don't open the box now. Only after 4 days of meeting Skylar." What? And who was Skylar? I decided to go ahead and open the box. But just then I heard a small scuffling sound that made me jump out of my skin. I had to get out of here! In my hurry to leave, I tripped over the carpet and crashed straight into a tea table, knocking it over. Just as I started to cry, the door flew open and someone picked me up. Dad! "Claire, are you okay? Seriously, we've had the entire hotel staff looking for you, again! I told you this part is getting renovated and it's off limits." I tried to tell my dad that I needed to get back, but he dragged me away and made sure the door was locked. I need to get back there very soon. Hi, I'm Claire, and I've lived in hotels all my life. Dad is a famous hotelier who buys old hotels and converts them into luxury 5-star ones. These hotels have been the places for all my biggest adventures and all the scrapes I've landed in. But before I continue, click like and subscribe. My life was perfect until the day I saw that box. I didn't know what to do. The only person I thought of talking to was my old annoying sister, Hanny. All she cared about was makeup and fashion. She had a son and was now pregnant again. And no, she wasn't married. She was engaged to an arrogant billionaire, and her wedding was in 4 days. I found her doing her makeup in her room. She looked angry when she saw me come in. "I'm busy here. I just have one question. Do you know someone called—" Just then, a young good-looking man walked out of her bathroom. "Hey, who's that?" "Ugh, that's my makeup artist. His name is Skylar. What do you want now?" "Oh, I didn't expect Skylar to look like this. Hi, Skylar. I'm Claire. I have something very important to ask you." "He doesn't speak English." "Oh, shoot. Yeah, you can leave now." I felt more confused now. When I was about to leave, Hanny's son, Sam, ran to me. "Can you be my mommy?" "Why, honey? What's wrong?" "Mommy is always busy. She doesn't have time for me." I felt sorry for this little guy, but I had a mission to take care of. I kissed his forehead and promised him that we would spend some time together later. But now, what am I going to do with this non-English speaking Skylar? It was time for dinner, and all the guests were leaving their rooms. I decided to sneak into Dad's office. He had the key to room 217. I would just steal it and find out what was inside the box. I stood in front of my dad's office door and tried to open it, but it was locked. I knocked several times and called out to him. "Dad, open the door! It's urgent!" "May I help you?" "And who are you?" "I'm your father's new assistant. I got hired today. You can call me Skylar." "What?" Oh, well, it made more sense that he might be the Skylar I was looking for and not that makeup artist. "Hi, I'm Claire, and I have a question for you." "Yes, ma'am. I know who you are. I was told I'm not allowed to have any personal conversations with you, and I think now it's time for you to go to bed." "Excuse me?" "That's your father's order. You're going to start school tomorrow, ma'am." What was he talking about? I never went to school. I had been homeschooled my entire life, and the best teachers came to the hotel for me. "With all due respect, Skylar, I suggest you move aside, now." He looked calm, and then he whispered something in his wrist. "From the pirate Skylar to the diamond doves. Come now." What the? And then in no time, 2 maids showed up from nowhere and dragged me away. I yelled at them to stop, and I tried to break free. But man, they were strong. While they were taking me away, Skylar said, "My apologies, ma'am. It's your father's orders." When I got to my room, I knew there was no point in running away, because there were cameras everywhere. And Dad would see me and send these crazy women again. I decided that if Dad was going to send me to this school, I would disguise myself and sneak out of there. And then I'd come back into the hotel to get that box. Next morning, I woke up to find the school's uniform on the couch. I put it on and put my disguise in my bag when the maids from yesterday entered the room. "I can't travel by car in the morning. It makes me nauseous. Please order a helicopter for me." "No need to travel, ma'am. The school is here in the hotel." "What?" They told me to follow them. When we stepped out of my room, they walked over to the opposite room and opened the door. "This is your school, ma'am." I had never seen such a huge room in my entire life. There was only one desk with a chair in front of the teacher's desk. I turned around and yelled at the maids. "This is not a school! I'm leaving!" They stopped me. "No, ma'am, you can't leave. Your father wants you to stay here till the afternoon." Afternoon? That's like 9 hours! But I knew there was no point in fighting. Dad wouldn't allow me to leave. I didn't understand. He was always the sweet, perfect parent. Was this a new way to discipline me or something? I walked towards the desk and sat behind it. The teacher smelled weird and had a creepy smile on his face.
Hi, you must be Claire. I'm your new teacher, Mr. Schuyler.
I gasped. Was there any more Schylers for me to meet in this crazy hotel? I decided not to ask him about the box right away and see how things would go from there. He started with math. He looked straight into my eyes and said,
There are 200 rooms in this hotel with children in them, and 16 rooms with newly married couples in them, and 1 room that is still getting renovated. How many rooms do we have in total?
I thought for a second. The answer was 217, and then it hit me. That room with the box in it was room 217. Did he give me this word problem on purpose? The answer is 217. With a creepy smile on his face, he nodded.
How many boxes does room 217 have?
Oh, he did know about the box. I was about to tell him what I'd found in that room when the door of the room flew open and Sam entered the room crying.
Hey! You're not supposed to be here!
Sam ran to me and hugged me tight, and the 2 maids ran after him. I held him and yelled at the maids to leave.
Ma'am, he can't be here.
Listen, all of you. This boy is not leaving this room unless I leave with him. So you better shut up and leave us alone, or else. The teacher didn't say anything, and the maids left. Sam looked at me with tears in his eyes. It's Hanny. She is mad. He always called his mom by her first name. And did he say she was mad? Hanny turns into a monster when she gets angry. The entire hotel staff gets scared when they hear her scream. Jeremy is mad too. He is gone. Jeremy was Hanny's fiancé. I felt like she had never loved him. I didn't understand why she wanted to marry him when they fought so much. Suddenly, Hanny barged in, looking super furious. Behind her, Schuyler the assistant was running.
Ma'am, I think you should calm down.
And I think you should shut up.
And I think I should leave you guys alone,
the teacher said and left. She leaned towards me and whispered, I don't know what you're up to, but whatever it is, keep Sam out of it. And she grabbed Sam's arm to take him away. I don't want to come with you. I want to stay with Claire. Fine. And she left the room glaring at me. What was this crazy woman talking about? What did she think I was doing? I felt very confused and lost. I let out a loud sigh when Sam looked at me with his adorable eyes. Don't be upset. I know Hanny loves you. She always say that. Pfft. Yeah, right. I took his hand and left the stupid room and went to mine. 2 days passed and I wasn't able to find anything more about the box or the right Schuyler. And since no one wanted to help, I knew just how to get Dad's stupid assistant to tell me something that might help me understand what was going on. I waited for the right moment, and as soon as I saw he was alone, I dragged him into my room. There's something I have to tell you.
Yes, ma'am.
I hate it when you call me ma'am. Call me Claire.
I'm...
As soon as I'd cornered him, I kissed him. To my surprise, though, not only did I find myself enjoying the kiss very much, but he kissed me back for a second. Just then the door opened and Sam came in. I immediately pushed Schuyler away and he ran outside.
I can't tell you anything, ma'am. It's your father's orders.
God, Sam! I decided to take him to Hanny and tell her everything. She should help me. When we got there, the door was slightly open. I was about to enter the room when I heard Hanny talking to someone. You need to leave this hotel, Schuyler.
I know, Hanny, I know. I don't know what to do now.
I sneaked to see that she was talking to the makeup artist. Wait a second. She said he didn't speak English. I opened the door. Oh, I can see that he speaks English better than me. What are you doing here? Giving you your son back. You should take care of him, you know. You're his mother, in case you forgot. Hanny was about to say something when she stopped. I could see she was hurt by what I'd said. Then the makeup artist left the room quickly. I gave Sam to Hanny and ran after the makeup artist. Darn, he had disappeared. Then I saw Jeremy coming towards Hanny's room. He opened the door and started yelling at her.
Is Sam back now? You're such a worthless, good-for-nothing woman.
I heard Hanny crying. I would have punched him in the face if it was me. Such a jerk! But for now, I had to do something about that box. I felt so helpless, though. Dad's office was always locked, and no one was willing to help me. And I had no idea who the right Schuyler was. Oh, God, help me! The next day, I woke up even earlier than the crazy maids did and went to school. The creepy hot teacher was already there, writing something down in a notebook. He quickly closed it when he saw me.
Good morning, ma'am.
Just tell me what's in that box, dude.
Ma'am, yes, about the box.
Just then, the 2 maids barged in. Ma'am, you're not supposed to be here. Tonight is your sister's wedding, and your father said you need to get ready. I don't care about her stupid wedding. Just leave or I... But before I could finish my sentence, the maids held me by my arms and dragged me away. As I was leaving, the teacher said,
Don't worry. We will solve the box riddle tomorrow. It's on page 5. I expect you to do your homework.
What riddle? What box? What homework? I'm talking about something else! This dumb teacher knew nothing. The maid shut the door and took me to my room. There, I found the makeup artist. What are you doing here? Why did Hanny say you should leave?
Oh, she was worried about my immigration status and that I would be sent away. That's why she didn't want me talking to anyone, and told you I didn't speak English, so no one would snitch on me.
Okay, so he wasn't the right Skylar either. This left me with only one Skylar, the assistant. I knew it was him. My gut feeling was right. The moment I was done getting ready for the wedding, I ran to look for the assistant. I found him talking to one of the maids, and he tried to run away when he saw me. Please, I can't do this, ma'am. I tried to think of something really fast, so I lied and said, Sam is stuck in my bathroom. I need your help before anyone finds out he's missing. I could see the serious look on his face. Yes, ma'am. And we both went to my room. I locked the door behind me. Give me the key to room 217, now. He looked shocked and confused.
I don't know what you're talking about, ma'am.
Don't ma'am me, you idiot. Just give me the key. It's in my dad's office.
Ma'am, please calm down. I have no idea what's going on. But since you want this so badly, I can open your dad's office for you. And it's a big risk, ma'am, but I will do it for you.
I couldn't believe my ears. Finally! Someone was helping me. I kissed him and took his hand, and we both ran to Dad's office. He opened the door for me and waited outside. I walked towards my dad's desk when I heard some noise. I froze. Who's there? There was no reply. I gathered my courage and continued walking, when suddenly a young man got up from under the desk. I yelled, Oh my God!
Calm down, please.
Who are you?
I'm Skylar.
Oh man, this was too much. I couldn't take more Skylars this week. What are you doing here?
I'm Hanny's friend. I was supposed to arrive 4 days ago, but my flight got delayed. I need to get you into room 217.
You know about the box?
Yes, but I don't know what's inside it. I can't explain much right now. You're the only person allowed to open that box.
Why? Who said that?
Your sister.
Then he gave me the key and told me to hurry before it was too late. I was confused. I opened room 217 and went straight to the box. I opened it and I found a letter there. I started reading it and... Oh my God! I needed to leave this place now. I tried to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. I freaked out, and what was worse, my phone wasn't with me. I kept kicking and pushing against the door. After 2 hours, someone opened it, and it was Skylar, the assistant.
The wedding started and I didn't see you around. I checked the cameras and found out you were here. And I also knew who locked you in.
Me too. I gave him a kiss on the cheek and thanked him. I ran to the ballroom as fast as I could. It was in the same hotel. I screamed when I entered the ballroom. I object! I object! This wedding can't happen! The room fell silent and everyone stared at me. Then Dad came running to me.
What's wrong, honey?
Dad, Hanny is not happy. She can't marry Jeremy. He is a psycho who never loved or respected her. She's scared, Dad. Jeremy was furious.
That's impossible. These are all lies. Tell them, Hanny.
Hanny started crying, and then Jeremy started shaking her by the shoulders, screaming at her to say something. Dad ran to him and pushed him away.
You can't talk to my daughter like that.
And then to Hanny, he said,
Honey, why didn't you say something?
Dad, I was scared. I'm sorry, Claire, for the way I treated you. I was just frustrated at everyone and everything. It was a toxic relationship. I was lost and angry. Then Hanny's friend, Skylar, showed up and went to hug her.
Oh, who is that? It's him, huh? He is Sam's father. I knew you were such a...
Then Dad lunged at Jeremy and punched him in the face. 2 security men came running in and dragged Jeremy away. I felt sorry for Hanny, and things between me and her got better and we became closer. She got back with Skylar, her ex-boyfriend, and she gave birth to an adorable baby boy. And guess what she named him? Oh no, not Skylar.
Tiptoed into the lounge. I nearly jumped out of my skin when I heard a voice. You're gonna be in so much trouble. It was my annoying older sister Natalia sitting in a corner and recording a makeup tutorial. Listen, you can't tell Aunt I came so late. She'll make me do the dishes and laundry for a month. I might keep your secret if you do my math homework for the rest of the school year. Just then, my eyes fell on the mound of honey cakes on the table and my stomach growled. Don't even think about touching these. Aunt wants to sell them at the farmer's market. We came to live with our miserable Aunt Ursula after our parents passed away in an accident a few years ago, and she treated us like we were her servants. I was really hungry, so I just grabbed one and popped the whole thing into my mouth. Just then, my aunt suddenly showed up and yelled, "That's it! I'm sick of breaking my back looking after you girls. I'm sending you off to foster care." We looked at her in horror. Going to foster care meant we'd be sent off to different families. As Aunt stormed off and we heard her making a call, I got a flying shoe on my head. Ow! Oh, I forgot to tell you about my third sister, Tanya. The sleepyhead had been snoring in front of the fireplace, but she was wide awake now and glaring at me. This is all your fault, Marina. Go tell her you're sorry. I'm not living away from you guys. Natalia and I ran to hug her, and I promised I'd make everything okay. Just then, we heard loud knocking on the door. Aunt came waddling out to open it, and she let out a loud gasp. Standing in the doorway was a huge man with a beard. His voice boomed in the small room. Did you really think you could send them off and keep taking the money I give you for their care and I wouldn't even know? Girls, pack your things. You're coming with me. Hi, my name is Marina, and I'm from Russia. My life turned around when Mom's eccentric brother, who I never even knew existed, took away me and my sisters to live in his old mansion. But it gets even crazier from here. Before I continue, click like and subscribe. The next few weeks living with Uncle Ivan was like a dream. He got all three of us into the best school in town right away. A few days later at dinner, while Natalia and I were busy arguing over something, Tanya suddenly said, guys, is Uncle Ivan okay? We looked at him and saw that he sat slumped in his chair. Oh, no. Natalia poked him, but there was no response. I bent down to check his pupils, and just then he yelled, "Do svidaniya!" We all screamed and nearly fell back in shock. He glared at us. Can't a man take a nap in his own house? Uncle Ivan startled us again by suddenly banging his goblet on the table. I've just decided something. I want to give you $1 million. For a few seconds, we stared at him with our mouths open, and then we started hugging each other in delight. To one of you. We froze in our spots. Wait, what? Well, if it's only one of us, of course it should be me. I'm the oldest, and I'm running a business already. You know, my beauty blog. Your business is just Dumbos watching another Dumbo putting on makeup. I'm going to be a big shot singer one day, so I'll need that money for my album. Guys, come on, $1 million is a lot of money. We can share it. But the other two weren't even listening to me. How dare you call me a Dumbo, you little bug? I'm 11 and I can kick your butt. And before I knew it, they were attacking one another while I was trying to break it up. Uncle got up and looked at us with sad eyes. I will make my decision in 3 days. And with that, he walked off. The next morning, when I peeked into Natalia and Tanya's rooms and didn't find them there, I knew exactly where they'd be. And sure enough, I found them standing outside Uncle's bedroom with breakfast trays loaded with his favorite foods. Seriously, guys, we're family. I swear if I find the money, I'll happily split it with you two. Well, I wouldn't do that for you. Yeah, me neither. It's gonna be all mine. And with that, Tanya knocked on the door loudly, but there was no reply. We opened the door, and to our surprise, the bed was perfectly made and the room was empty. Just then, I caught sight of a note on his pillow and ran forward to pick it up. A fat lady with no eyebrows sitting in a frame, smiling strangely at the world. Everyone knows her name. P.S. I had to go somewhere. What on earth is he talking about? The woman he's describing sounds like Aunt Ursula. I'm not going back to her, not even for $1 million. Later that night, when I was in bed, I was still thinking about the strange poem when I suddenly sat up straight. Of course that's what Uncle meant. I quickly put on my nightgown and rushed downstairs. I crept quietly into Uncle's study and switched on my phone's flashlight. I knew I'd seen it here, the Mona Lisa hanging on the wall. I stared at the painting for a while, wondering what I was supposed to do now. Then I took it off the wall and flipped it over. I gasped. Taped to one corner was a small bronze key. I couldn't wait to tell the others. And then suddenly, I felt a hand around my ankle. Ah! I jumped back in fright and fell on the floor. And then someone popped up from behind the couch. Oh, hi, Marina. I thought it was Natalia bringing me food. Oh my God, how could it possibly be? It was Petrov, the hockey team captain at my old school and my biggest crush. What on earth are you doing here? Just then, the door burst open and she walked in with a tray of snacks. She looked shocked to see me, then quickly smiled. Oh, I see you've met my boyfriend. We were really missing each other, so he decided to pay me a visit. I couldn't believe my own sister would do this to me. She knew how much I liked him, and she'd been dating him behind my back. Just then, Tanya came running in, saying she'd heard my screams. She didn't even look surprised to see Petrov. You knew he was here too? Yeah, I saw Natalia sneaking him in a few nights ago. Petrov, it's really uncool to eat someone's chocolates without asking, man. Petrov stared at her like she was crazy. What are you talking about? I didn't eat your stuff. Well, one of you is lying then because they were in the fridge this morning. Who ate them, ghosts? Just then, the study door behind us slammed shut and we all turned around startled. And then we heard a key turn in the lock. I ran towards the door and pulled the handle, but it wouldn't budge. Who could possibly have locked us inside? Petrov started banging on the door and screaming like a maniac. Help! This house is haunted! I don't want to die here! Jeez, Petrov, you're gonna wake up all the ghosts. He looked even more horrified, and Natalia kicked Tanya before taking him aside and calming him down. Just seeing the two of them sitting so close made my blood boil. And now we were just stuck here and would have to wait for Uncle to let us out. As we all sat there sulking quietly, Natalia suggested that we could play a game to pass the time. Oh, I have a great game in mind. It's called Reflection. I picked the antique mirror from Uncle's desk and shoved it in her face. Mirror, mirror in my hands, who's the worst sister in all the lands? OMG, loser, get over it. Petrov looked really confused and asked what was going on. Natalia just said, "Oh, nothing." And then she grabbed him by the collar and started kissing him in front of me. Oh, my eyes, my eyes! Tanya ran off to the other end of the room and refused to come back. She snuggled into a big armchair, and after a few minutes we could hear her loud snoring. Natalia opened a packet of crisps for herself and Petrov and glared at me. Don't even think about it. Also, why were you snooping around at night? As if I'd tell you. When Petrov asked us what we were fighting about, Natalia spilled out everything about how Uncle was leaving one of us $1 million. If you're keeping any secrets from me, Marina, I'll find out. Come on, babe, I'm so tired. And with that, she took Petrov's hands and they both snuggled onto the couch. I put my fingers in my ears to stop hearing their kissing and giggling sounds. This was just the worst night ever. Finally, after ages, it seemed like they'd fallen asleep. I was still wide awake and my stomach rumbled loudly. A few minutes later, someone shook me by the shoulder. I turned around to see it was Petrov, and he'd brought me some food. We stayed up for hours talking, and I was having the best time. You know something, Marina? I think you're the smartest, and you'll win the money. His face was really close to mine, and he was leaning in to kiss me. Just then, we heard Natalia stir, and he quickly ran off to her. A little while later, I crawled over to the Mona Lisa painting on the floor and found a key on the back. I clutched it tight and fell asleep. I woke up the next morning, and to my shock, the door was unlocked and wide open. I woke the others up, and everyone was so excited we were free. Just as I was walking out, I heard Natalia say, "Hey, why is this painting on the floor?" "Oh, I saw Marina take it off last night. There was something behind it." And before I knew it, Natalia had jumped across the room and pinned me to the ground. "Tell me what you found, you witch!" I tried to push her off me, but she was crazy strong. As we wrestled on the floor, the key slipped out of my hands and Tanya ran to pick it up. "Both of you, shut up!" As we sat panting and staring daggers at one another, Tanya said that there was something written on the key. Together in Paris. We had no idea what that was about and decided we'd come back from school and figure it out together. I went to Uncle's room and slipped the key into a drawer. During the first recess, I snuck out of the school and went back home as fast as I could. I crept into Uncle's room and headed straight for the drawer, to find it empty. What? Just then, I saw the curtain move a little. I crept up to it slowly and pulled it back to see Petrov behind it. "What are you doing here, and where's my key?" I saw you with it, and I just wanted to help solve the mystery for you. You're so smart. I really wanted you to think I'm smart too." He suddenly took my hand and pulled me close. "I like you, Marina, a lot. Let's figure this thing out and get out of here with the $1 million. We could go anywhere, just you and me." Just as he was about to pull me in for a kiss, I pushed him away. "Seriously? You were just making out with my sister this morning. You're such a cheater, and I'm no idiot. Give me the key, Petrov, now!" Suddenly, Petrov pushed me aside and made a dash towards the door. He bumped into a small table and knocked everything over. I jumped towards him and managed to tackle him to the ground. The small key flew out of his hand and went skidding across the floor and landed at Natalia's feet. She looked livid. "Oh, so you were going to just take my money and run off with my sister?" He crawled up to her on his knees. "Don't be silly, babe. I didn't mean a word of that. I was just doing this for the two of us." "You mean the three of us?" Tanya and I stared at her in shock, except Petrov, who just looked stupidly confused. "It's not some riddle, idiot. I'm pregnant and you're going to be a daddy." He stared up at her in horror for a second, then ran out of the room screaming. We heard the huge main door slam shut. I ran to Natalia and hugged her. I had no idea. Petrov's such a jerk. "But don't worry, we will be really good aunts, and She pushed me off. "Ew, I'm not dumb enough to get pregnant. That was just to get rid of him." Just then, Tanya, who was picking up the things Petrov had knocked over, suddenly screamed, "Look, girls, look what this says!" She was holding a beautiful little music box in her hands, and there was a small carving on the lid. "Together in Paris." I placed the box on the table and we all gathered around as I turned the key. The lid slowly opened and we gasped in delight as we saw two figurines dancing to the tinkly music. There was a tiny compartment underneath and a small note tucked away. 𝗕𝗔𝗦𝗬𝗓. For a moment, we just stared at the paper when Natalia suddenly gasped. These numbers! This is Mom's birthday! She was right. But what could Uncle possibly mean by this? I have no idea, girls, but Uncle said we only had 3 days, so we have to put our heads together and figure it out soon. Later that night, as I tossed around in bed, I suddenly heard a loud thump from downstairs. I froze for a minute, then quickly crept out of bed and tiptoed down with a baseball bat. I couldn't see anyone around, and just as I was about to turn away, something on the floor caught my eye. Muddy shoe prints. We definitely had an intruder in the house. I followed the shoe prints down the corridors that led to the eastern wing of the house. I'd never been here before. Suddenly, they faded away, and I looked up to see a door at the end of the hall. Holding my breath, I slowly opened it. There was no one inside, but it was the oddest room I'd ever seen. It seemed like a museum of forgotten things, and there were hundreds of clocks on the walls of all shapes and sizes, ticking away and all telling the wrong time. And in one corner was a shiny bronze safe. The minute I saw it, I had a light bulb moment. Of course that's what the numbers were. The combination to a safe. With trembling hands, I entered the numbers and heard a small click. I opened it and squealed when I saw what was inside. Stacks of money. It definitely looked like $1 million. Were you going to keep this for yourself? I turned around to see Natalia and Tanya standing behind me. Of course not. How could you even think that? Come, let's split it right now. There's plenty for us all. Just then, the door burst open and we turned around to see Uncle Ivan beaming in the doorway. Uncle, you're back! I was here all along. Who do you think locked you up when you girls were being so noisy? I just wanted to see how you would play my game. Marina, you really know what family is all about. Good girl. You get to keep all the money. The other two looked horrified. I turned to Uncle and smiled. Thank you, Uncle, but I couldn't. It'll make me happier to share it with my sisters. I knew you wouldn't. Now only time will tell if your sisters deserve their share. Yes, we deserve it. We'll prove it. We'll be so good to each other. I laughed and put my arms through theirs. Let's divide it and go shopping tomorrow.